Welcome to the Farm Family Harmony podcast. I'm Elaine Fraze, Farm Family Coach, here with another episode full of transition tips, tactics, and sometimes hard truths to get harmony on your farm.
Hi, folks. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Lindsay Seafoot, who lives not far from me near Wawanesa, Manitoba. And she's an HR specialist who can work with ag families. And it's a really good niche, and I want you to know about her. So first of all, Lindsay, my first question is, what's your sweet spot in how you help farmers and people in ag businesses? What do you actually do for them?
Yeah, great question. So we can help farmers. Most of the time, these are farms who are finding that they have a bigger employee group than they've ever had. It can be 3+ employees. We've never had to worry about HR before, and now we're getting questions. And we're getting questions for our employees all about, what are my holidays? What kind of bonuses do we do here? All these foundational questions from an HR perspective that farmers are just going, oh, actually, I don't know. And we don't have a process in place. So we really start with farms kind of at the beginning. We meet them where they are, but oftentimes that's sort of at the beginning, and we put the foundations in place. And then we talk about how to be an employer of choice with your farm. How do you get employees coming to you? How do you find the best people and keep them?
So that is a huge problem in agriculture. And on our farm, we have a wonderful fellow named Graham from South Africa who's been with us for 2 years. And we found him through an immigration agency in Brandon, and my son has done all the backup work. So, Lindsay, how do you make farmers' lives easier with your HR protocols and contracts? And what kind of systems do you put in place for them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a great question. So not unlike any other small business owner or business owner, farmers are good at what they're good at, right? They're good at putting crop in the ground. They're good at getting a good yield, all that kind of stuff. They don't need to focus their time on these employee pieces. So we can sort of put in the systems to make that stuff happen easier. And farms are going to need to hire people. That's just sort of a given. When you get to a certain point in size, you need help, right? You need employees. So what we do is we let people focus on their core business. We let them focus on what they're good at. And then we sort of take that HR process off of their desk. And that can be as much or as little involvement as they want. We can build foundations and they run with the program, or we can be there kind of consistently to support the program as well.
So that's great. So you can do a one-off kind of contract with them to get their benefits and their payroll and their employee contracts and vacation days and all those good things that you mentioned before. So you can do one-off work with farmers that just kind of a one and done kind of solution. Or the other thing is that you can be like the HR coach and you can stick with them. So do you have some clients that you work with on an ongoing basis then?
Yes, correct. So it's probably about a 50-50 split of project work versus what we call retained clients. And we retain people. And when you're on our retainer, we also have a portal that we give clients access to, and they can go in there and print off all kinds of things. There's everything on there from what to ask in interviews all the way through to, how to deliver a performance evaluation, how to do a written warning, the kind of basic documentation people need on the day-to-day. We do find that people access that and still need questions and support. So retained clients get access, and then they also get our support.
And that's fabulous, because no one ever needs to feel that they're alone. And the other thing is, when you talk about dismissal or having to let someone go, or warnings and all those things that are under the Labor Act, that farmers don't maybe pay so much attention to when they were solo entrepreneurs, but now they have 3 other people following them around or taking direction, it becomes more complicated, right? So would you say that you make farmers' life with labor a lot less complicated?
Yeah, I would say yes, that would be the goal. I mean, these things come up, and there is never just one clear black and white answer per employee that you can deploy every time you have an issue, right? Every employee situation is different. And so we make it easier because we lay it out as sort of basic as possible. These are your options, these are your risks, and we talk through the best choice. There's never one clear
cookie cutter, right? Yeah. But farmers love that, don't you know? I call it the Roundup solution, Lindsay. They just want, just give me the checklist and I'll go, do, it'll be done. And 10 days later, I'll have a solution. I said, no, that's not usually how life with people works.
Exactly.
So you're based close to Wawanesa, Manitoba. Tell folks how you could work with them if they lived in Saskatchewan or Alberta. How could you serve them from afar?
Sure. So we do lots of virtual. We can kind of go, it's borderless, right? When we can do virtual stuff. So obviously our portal and all the things that we do document wise are just electronic. We can have that to people in a second. We do virtual Zoom calls like this. And, we try our best to fill all those gaps and stay connected to people. We have plenty of clients I've never met in real life that get the same, exactly. They get the same service as the people that are 10 minutes away from my door. So I try to make it accessible to everyone.
Does it matter what province they're in? Because the labor laws may be a little bit different, but you have access. Tell us about your training, because you're a certified professional. So tell us what that means to people in terms of trusting how professional you are.
Yeah, certainly. So a CPHR is kind of the designation. So you have to work for a certain number of years. You have to pass an exam, and you can get a certified HR title. So that means that I'm held to a certain level of standards in terms of confidentiality, in terms of law, what I need to do for CPD hours, all that stuff. So when it comes to different provinces, to answer that question, because that's a great question, there are different rules in different places, right? And we have the ability to connect with legal teams in different provinces if we find the need. And we also have experience working with clients that some are global. So we've gone across all provinces and we've done the research. There are, of course, things we don't know, and we find the answers through the means that we have. So we can support different provinces for sure.
That's great. I just think the only one of the few gifts from the Great Pause was that most farmers understand how to use Zoom really well. And I have accountants and lawyers that I recommend who also do really good work in sharing of documents digitally and docu-signing. And so really there's no reason why someone who wants to access your expertise from afar needs to stop. So what do you think the key barriers are, Lindsay? Why do people flounder along and not get good HR support when they start hiring more employees?
Okay, this is a great question. I have a couple of thoughts. I think oftentimes you just don't know what's out there, right? It's hard to find the right people that understand this. I mean, I come from a rural background. My business is actually named after my granddad's first farm. So all the roots in what we do are directed towards the ag community. But it's hard to find people that do that. So I think that's part of it. You have to trust people because you're giving away confidential information.
Like and trust. You have to make people like them and trust them.
Exactly. And that can be hard for people to share the details of financial things or how things operate. That's hard. So I think that's one of the first barriers. It also takes people maybe a few mess ups or a few really hard situations to realize, okay, it's time for some help. So I think part of, and what you do and what you're so great at here is getting the word out that there is support. You don't have to go through hard times and maybe
do it alone.
Yeah. Be by yourself sorting this out. And Googling HR things, there are people like me, and we structure our service in a way that, again, you can have a little piecemeal just to get help, or you can bring us into the fold. So
well, I would think your best selling feature, Lindsay, is your one-stop shop. Make it organized and convenient and legal and well done. And, people can be bombarded with information, but it's to execute that information, right? It's to actually focus and execute. And it's the execution part where things get tangled up and stuck. And there's a lot of emotion too about, hiring someone and then understanding that you've made a mistake. And even the toolbox that I have from Whitman Consulting, from Dick Whitman, I have a really great one-page performance appraisal, but it's taken me 3 hours to do that one page with a father and a son and a son-in-law, just because they never ever sat down ever before to do a performance appraisal on family. So I think the tools that you have are not only good for people who are non-related, but I think it would be magical and just transformational for ag families to learn how to do performance appraisals on each other in a family.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Because that's still a business relationship, right? It's an employee type relationship with different layers. Yeah.
So the other piece, just as we get to the end here a bit, is also the fact that you work not only with farmers who are hiring more employees, but you also work with agribusiness. And of course, every farm needs all kinds of different agribusiness suppliers. So are you also willing to go on to the training side and jump in at the boardroom, say at my local Double Diamond Farm Supply, the guys who sell fertilizer and chemicals and other agribusinesses, machinery dealerships? I mean, I think that there's probably a lot of ag-based HR training that you would be really good for.
Yeah. Again, a large part of the client base is agribusiness. And so they bring us in to do training. We train the leadership. We can train on HR. We have a little program called HR for HR. So if you do have some internal people that are doing a bit of HR, we can work with them. And the agribusiness side is, I mean, it's kind of, it connects to the ag world, of course, in so many ways, but it also falls under its own set of rules and laws. And so they're a different type of business. But we have a lot of experience, with agribusiness. And we've had a lot of success with agribusiness as well, and coming in to deliver training and to build some HR foundations in those companies.
And that's super wonderful too, I think, because they probably don't want to have to get stuck with people issues. They want to do what they know to do best in sales and marketing and supporting farm families. And you can do what you do best. And so you make a great team. So Lindsay, you mentioned that your company is named after your grandfather's farm. So how do people find you? What's the easiest way to get hold of you?
The easiest way, so the website is curbridgeco.com at curbridgeco.com. All the information is there. You can find my email, my phone number, everything on the website. That's usually the best place to find everything you need. There's the stories behind Curbridge and all the details that people want.
Great. So thanks for spending this time with us today. And I hope when this hits the airwaves that people will be encouraged to reach out for good HR contracting and all the tools in your toolbox that you can offer them. All the best, Lindsay, and someday you and I will also meet face to face. We only live half an hour apart from each other. Right. Okay. Thanks so much. See you next time.
Are you feeling stuck with your farm family transition? I'm here to help. Simply go to www.alainfraise.com/membership to find out more how you can create and get actionable tools to help your farm family move forward. And Fraise is spelled F-R-O-E-S-E. www.alainfraise.com/membership. See you soon.